Listen to me before this year runs away like all the others, before the calendar flips and you promise yourself again that this time will be different. What if 2026 isn't about becoming more, doing more, proving more? What if 2026 is the year you finally stop abandoning yourself? I want you to feel that question in your chest, because here's the truth. We don't like to say out loud, you didn't fail the last year because you lacked discipline. You failed because you kept choosing everyone else over your own truth. You kept shrinking to stay loved. You kept quiet to keep the peace. You kept saying yes while your body screamed no. And every time you did that, a small part of you learned a dangerous lesson: my needs don't matter. But hear me clearly, 2026 does not need a new version of you. It needs the real one back. This is not the year of hustle. This is the year of self-respect. The year you stop negotiating with your worth. The year you stop confusing exhaustion with success. The year you stop calling survival strength. Choosing yourself will feel uncomfortable at first. People may not clap. Some may leave. Some may question you. But let me tell you something powerful. The moment you choose yourself, you teach the world how to treat you. You stop living on permission. You stop waiting to be chosen. You become rooted instead of reactive. 2026 begins the moment you decide, I am no longer available for a life that cost me myself. Say it quietly. Then live it loudly. Most people don't realize this, but self-betrayal doesn't start with big choices. It starts with tiny moments you ignore. That tight feeling in your chest when you agree to something you resent. That lump in your throat when you stay silent, even though your truth is begging to be spoken. That exhaustion that isn't from work, but from pretending. You didn't wake up one day disconnected from yourself. You practiced it over and over. You practiced not feeling, not asking, not needing, not wanting too much. And the world rewarded you for it. It called you easy, strong, low maintenance. But here's the cost no one warned you about. When you abandon yourself long enough, you forget who you are without everyone else's expectations. Choosing yourself in 2026 will feel like grief, because you'll mourn the years you spent proving instead of belonging. You'll mourn the versions of you that never got to breathe. You'll mourn the relationships that only worked when you stayed small. And that grief is not weakness. It's evidence that you're waking up. This year is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming honest. Honest about what drains you. Honest about what no longer fits. Honest about the life you've outgrown but keep clinging to because it's familiar. Self-trust is built in moments of discomfort. When you disappoint others, to stay loyal to yourself. When you stop explaining your boundaries like they're crimes. When you let silence do the work instead of over. Justifying 2026 will ask you one brave question again and again. Can you stay with yourself? Even when it costs you approval. That's where everything changes. Let me tell you something most people are terrified to admit. Not everyone in your life is meant to come with you into the version of you who chooses herself. And that doesn't make you cruel. It makes you conscious. Some people fell in love with the version of you who overgave. The version who fixed, absorbed, forgave, and carried what wasn't hers. The version who said, it's okay, while slowly disappearing. When you choose yourself in 2026, you will feel resistance. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something different. People who benefited from your self-neglect will call your boundaries selfish. People who never listened will suddenly say, you've changed. You have. And thank God. Growth doesn't look like glowing up on the outside. It looks like discomfort on the inside. It looks like long pauses before answering. It looks like walking away without slamming doors. It looks like no longer explaining your worth to people who refuse to see it. Here's the hard truth. You can love people deeply and still choose distance. You can honor history without sacrificing your future. You can release relationships with compassion instead of bitterness. 2026 is not asking you to burn bridges. It's asking you to stop lighting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions at the expense of your own. You are not required to stay in rooms that shrink you. You are not disloyal for outgrowing what once saved you. Choosing yourself will make your life quieter in some places, but it will make your soul louder. And that voice you've been ignoring, it doesn't need to shout anymore. You're finally listening. Here's what choosing yourself doesn't look like. And this matters. It doesn't look like perfection. It doesn't look like confidence every day. And it definitely doesn't look like having it all figured out. Choosing yourself is messy. It's waking up unsure, but refusing to numb out. It's doing the brave thing, even when your hands are shaking. It's letting yourself be seen before you feel ready. In 2026, courage will not feel like boldness. It will feel like vulnerability without guarantees. Like telling the truth even when you don't know how it will land. Like setting a boundary and sitting with the discomfort instead of rushing to fix it. We glamorize strength as independence, but real strength is interdependence. It's asking for help without attaching shame. It's admitting you don't have the answers and trusting yourself anyway. This year, you will be tempted to armor up again, to retreat into old patterns, to perform instead of feel. And when that happens, I want you to remember this armor keeps you safe, but it also keeps you alone. Choosing yourself means choosing softness in a world that profits from your hardness. It means rest without guilt, joy without justification, boundaries without apology. You don't need to earn your right to take up space. You don't need to be more productive to be worthy of rest. You don't need to suffer to prove your value. 2026 is asking you to unlearn the lie that love must be deserved through exhaustion. Let yourself be a beginner again. Let yourself move slowly. Let yourself choose alignment over approval. Because the bravest thing you will do this year is stop performing your life and start living it. Let's talk about the quiet moments, because that's where self-betrayal usually hides, not in the chaos, not in the crisis, but in the pauses where you feel the urge to reach for distraction instead of truth. In 2026, choosing yourself will mean learning how to sit with discomfort without running from it. Because every time you numb out, you delay your own becoming. Every time you overwork, overgive, or overexplain, you silence a part of you that's trying to speak. Your body already knows what your mind keeps arguing with. It knows when something is wrong. It knows when a yes is actually a no. It knows when you're forcing a fit instead of honoring a feeling. The work this year is embodiment, not more thinking. It's listening when your shoulders tense. It's pausing when your breath shortens. It's trusting that exhaustion is information, not a personal failure. You don't need to heal everything at once. You just need to stop ignoring yourself. Choosing yourself will look like creating space before reacting. Like asking, what do I need right now? And actually honoring the answer. Like letting rest be productive because it keeps you alive. You were never meant to live at the edge of burnout and call it ambition. You were never meant to earn love through depletion. You were never meant to hustle for your own worth. 2026 is about regulation before resolution, safety before strategy, presence before performance. When you slow down enough to feel something powerful happens, you stop chasing clarity, and clarity starts finding you. That's not weakness, that's wisdom returning home. There will be moments in 2026 when choosing yourself feels like standing alone in a crowded room, when you've done the right thing, but it doesn't feel good yet. When you've honored your truth, but the applause never comes. And this is where most people turn back, because we're conditioned to believe that alignment should feel immediately rewarding. But growth doesn't always bring relief first. Sometimes it brings loneliness. Sometimes it brings doubt. Sometimes it brings the terrifying question, what if I'm wrong? Let me tell you something grounding self-trust is not loud. It's steady. It's the quiet voice that says, I can handle the consequences of this choice, even if it costs comfort, even if it costs familiarity, even if it costs belonging in spaces that were never safe to begin with. Choosing yourself will reveal who is connected to you and who is attached to what you provided. That clarity can sting. But it also frees you. You will learn that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. That intimacy is earned through consistency, not proximity. That being alone is not the same as being abandoned. In 2026, you're not being asked to harden. You're being asked to anchor, to become someone who can sit with uncertainty without collapsing into people pleasing. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to understand you. And when you do, the loneliness shifts. It becomes spacious instead of empty. It becomes a place where your voice grows stronger instead of quieter. This is where self-leadership is born. Not in certainty, but in courage without witnesses. Let's talk about forgiveness, because you cannot choose yourself in 2026 while still punishing yourself for who you were trying to survive. You made choices that make you cringe now. You stayed too long. You ignored red flags. You settled. You gave away pieces of yourself hoping it would make you safe, loved, or enough. That wasn't weakness. That was adaptation. You did what you could with the tools you had at the time. And shaming your past self only keeps you trapped in her shadow. Choosing yourself means releasing the fantasy that you should have known better. It means offering compassion to the versions of you that were doing their best in pain. It means saying, I see why you did that and I don't need to do it anymore. In 2026, growth will require grief without self-attack, accountability without cruelty, a reflection without rumination. You don't heal by reliving your mistakes. You heal by learning from them and letting them go. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harm, especially harm done to yourself. It means refusing to carry shame into a future that needs your full presence. This year, when old memories resurface, don't push them away. Sit with them. Name what you needed then. Give it to yourself now. Because choosing yourself is not about becoming someone new. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that were lost to fear, silence, and survival. And when you forgive yourself, something shifts, your energy comes home. Your body softens, your future opens. That's not forgetting. That's freedom. Now, here's the part no one prepares you for. Choosing yourself changes your relationship with time. You stop rushing your healing. You stop forcing clarity. You stop treating your life like a problem that needs to be solved immediately. In 2026, urgency will no longer be your default. Presence will. You will begin to notice how often you've lived in the future, waiting for the moment when things finally feel safe enough to enjoy. Waiting for permission to rest. Waiting for confidence to arrive before you act. But confidence doesn't arrive first. It follows. Choosing yourself means trusting the process without demanding instant results. It means planting seeds you may not see bloom right away. It means allowing progress to be quiet, internal, and deeply personal. This year, comparison will lose its grip on you. Because when you're aligned, other people's timelines stop feeling like threats. You understand that your pace is not a flaw, it's wisdom. You will stop asking, am I behind, and start asking. Am I being honest? And honesty will slow you down in the best way. It will teach you to savor small wins. To recognize growth that doesn't show up on social media. To value peace over performance. You don't need to rush toward becoming. You are becoming with every grounded choice you make. 2026 is not a race. It's a return to your values, a return to your body, a return to a life that feels like it actually belongs to you. And once you taste that kind of alignment, you will never again confuse speed with success. By the time you reach the middle of 2026, something subtle but powerful will happen. You'll realize you're no longer asking for permission to be who you are. You'll notice the urge to explain yourself has softened. You'll feel less reactive and more rooted. This is what choosing yourself does over time. It doesn't make your life louder. It makes it truer. You will begin to trust your no as much as your whys. You will stop overcommitting and start over-delivering to yourself. You will choose conversations that nourish instead of drain you. And here's the most surprising part. The right people won't be threatened by this version of you. They'll feel safer with you because when you are grounded in who you are, you stop needing others to carry your unmet needs. 2026 will teach you that boundaries are not walls. They're doors with locks. They let the right people in and keep the wrong dynamics out. You will become more selective with your energy, not because you're closed off, but because you're finally open in the right places. And yes, there will still be hard days. Choosing yourself doesn't make life painless. It makes it honest. But on those hard days, you'll no longer abandon yourself. You'll stay. You'll listen. You'll respond instead of react. That's maturity. That's emotional strength. That's what it looks like when someone stops surviving and starts leading their own life. You won't feel perfect. You'll feel aligned. And that will change everything as 2026 unfolds. I want you to remember this. Choosing yourself is not a single decision. It's a daily practice, quiet, courageous commitment you make again and again, especially on the days when it feels inconvenient. There will still be moments when old patterns knock on the door, when self-doubt whispers familiar lies, when the urge to disappear for the comfort of others feels tempting. And in those moments, I want you to pause, place a hand on your heart, and ask yourself the only question that matters now. Does this choice bring me closer to myself or farther away? Because this year is not about being fearless. It's about being faithful. Faithful to your values, faithful to your body, faithful to the truth that your life is meant to feel like it belongs to you. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need devotion to what's real. Let 2026 be the year you stop outsourcing your worth. The year you stop waiting to be chosen. The year you become the safest place you've ever lived. Some people will not recognize this version of you. Let them. You didn't come this far to stay the same. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to build a life that doesn't require you to disappear. And when you look back at this year, let it be with this knowing you didn't just survive 2026,